thing for the Hangout for the whole one, for the whole thing.
Not a problem. Hassan, you got a flight to catch. Completely understand that. So welcome back. This is our 102nd Hangout. I know more people will join us as we go along. Barry will be hosting today, so if you all would like to give him a rousing good time, feel free to do such. He really enjoys it. So with that, I'll go ahead and I'll start off introductions, and then we'll let Barry jump into it after that. If anybody new jumps in, whoever's speaking at that moment, if you see someone new jump in, ask them to introduce themselves. All right. I'm Matt Storms. This is our 102nd Hangout. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. That way you'll get the latest information updated to you every week. And we also always love to have people subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, go ahead, Wissam.
Wissam Dandam from Daytona Beach, Florida, international SEO consultant.
All right. Might have to leave a little early today. He's flying out. All right. William.
William Rock, Kansas City, conversion analytics specialist.
All right. And I'm going to butcher this name. I'm going to guess it. Mahai?
That's actually pretty close. I guess you can call me Mike. I'm the owner of a small SEO agency here in Romania, in Bucharest.
All right. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to guess LeBron. Want to go and introduce yourself? Do you have a mic? If not, all right, go ahead, Barry.
Hi, I'm Barry Schwartz. I am your new host, and we'll be taking over this Hangout and never giving it back.
All right, go for it, Barry. What do you want to talk about?
What do we want to talk about? All right, we can just go in order. Well, Penguin. Let's talk about penguins. So there hasn't been a penguin update for over 10 months now. It's been 300 plus days since the last penguin update. It's probably the longest stretch without a penguin update, and there are people out there that are calling Google unethical and immoral for not pushing out. A lot of people, not just you, Josh. There's a lot of people out there.
More people are getting on the bandwagon now.
Yeah, we just had a post on Search Engine Land about that topic from, I believe, Eric, right? Eric Hinge?
Yeah.
And I posted about it a few days before that. And you've been calling Google unethical and immoral forever. So now that Google hasn't pushed out a penguin update in over 10 months, there are a lot of people who are scratching their heads saying, should I go into something else? Should I get out of the old web business? And I think at this point, I mean, there are a lot of Google lovers out there. Not going to name names, Matt. But what's the deal? Seriously, why can't they push out, even if they don't have the algorithm rewritten, just refresh the stupid algorithm so that people who have spent the past 10 months trying to fix their website, why shouldn't they have a second shot?
Right before Matt went on indefinite leave, I tweeted him and I said, okay, if you can't run Penguin because it's a negative SEO issue, which is what he told me, then why don't you run a positive version of the algorithm that doesn't demote, it just releases sites that have done the work of deleting their bad links and disavowing their rest. And then Payday Loans came out a few weeks later, and some people speculate that there might have been Penguin as part of Payday Loans or at the same time, because a lot of Penguin sites, and I had a couple of clients as well, who were hit by Penguin, and they came out on the Payday Loans day. So people speculate that they might have slipped Penguin in there, or just maybe for those really spammy niches, who knows?
Right. So, Matt, what do you think about that? Do you think Google is evil?
So you could say that any company or any business out there is evil. I watched a thing this morning saying how the Major League Baseball is evil. So I mean, it's very easy to say that, you know, a lot of people say Canadians are evil too.
No one says that.
No, just kidding. I don't. And full disclosure, my mother is Canadian.
Oh, what? So just quick side note. From where?
That place where it snows.
That's almost all of Canada. Where?
Just south of Alberta, a little place called Tees.
Okay.
So I'm not really good with my Canadian geography, so all I know is it's Tees, Red Deer, that area there.
Okay.
So, so a lot of people will say that businesses are evil and bad and things like that. You know, I go to Google pretty often, and I go up there and I talk with Googlers very often. And the thing is I know that they want to do what's right. And the thing is unfortunately, there's people out there who are trying to always game the system. We can all admit to that. I mean, how many of us have ever sped on the freeway? All the time. I do it daily. Whenever I'm on the freeway, I'm always going faster than the speed limit. And we do that because we want to get to our destination faster. A lot of people do the same thing online, where they're trying to use tactics or methods that are trying to get them to rank faster or get them to make revenue faster. That being said, is it the legal thing to do? No. And one day they're going to get caught. And when they get caught, they get angry about it. But they knew that they were violating those guidelines to begin with. So I look at companies who think that Google is evil and bad and things like that, and I kind of look at them like the police almost, and what we have to deal with. If you get caught, yeah, you were probably doing something bad. Now, are there rare instances where you were doing nothing wrong and you got penalized? Yes. It does happen. It does, and I will admit that. Okay? I've been pulled over doing 55 on the freeway, and a cop stopped me. He said, "You know why I stopped you?" And I was like, "Because I'm amazing?" He said, "No, I stopped you because you were speeding." I said, "That was impossible, officer. I was doing 55 and the speed limit is 60, and I have my cruise control set." So it happens. You deal with bad cops now and again, and bad things will happen to you. It's going to happen. But I think 99.999% of the time, if you're doing the right thing, you're okay. Does that kind of answer it for you, Barry? Josh?
Well, collateral damage is one thing that I argue against, that I think Google should do a much better job of trying to clean up. But to use your example, Matt, so say you were speeding on the freeway, and instead of giving you a ticket, the cop decided to shoot you in the leg, or waterboard you for 9 months, or however long Penguin's been out for, or hold your head down under the water until you maybe couldn't breathe. That would be a more analogous metaphor to Penguin, because businesses have been literally held under the water for, what has it been, 10 months now?
I could see some aspects of that.
Some? Just some. I think it's not nice. I think it's not a nice thing to do. They should be nicer. I really do. I think 10 months is a little bit too far. 7 months, I think, is too far too. 4 months, okay.
I would love to see them punish more sites who do bad things.
Okay, that's fine, but refresh the algorithm often.
I agree on that. But how do we know they haven't upgraded or refreshed?
They never. I asked them. They don't confirm. If they don't confirm, it's not happening. If they want to confirm, then they go on record of confirming it. Then they're nice people. If not, they're not nice people.
I agree.
All right, what else you got?
What else we got? Since we talked about Penguin, let's talk about pigeons. It looks like the pigeon update, which was you helped me name that, Matt. Thank you very much.
I wanted to name Dalmatian.
So that was released
Dog will
Thursday.
bite you and lock on.
So that was released Thursday night. The first major local search algorithm update in a long, long time. And it looks like they actually updated it last night as well. So a week ago, Thursday night was the big one, and now it looks like they updated it again last night or this morning. I think we have a Pigeon 1.1. I asked Google to confirm that as well, and of course, nothing yet. But it looks like it. I can't deny it, I don't think. I have screenshots proving it.
Would you guys say your local results have gotten better or worse after Pigeon? I'm not sure if they released it up in Canada, so I can't really check. But for you guys in the States, what do you think?
It was only released in the U.S. and English content. I said William says worse for some. Anything that goes down, some others go up. I mean, it's like, so it's the top 3, the top.
Go do a local search right now and see how it looks for you guys, and see if you like the results.
Here's been my problem, guys.
My
Josh.
favorite search, which is Nail Salon San Francisco.
Right.
You will see 9 out of 10 results are Yelp, but they have been that way for over a year. So when people say, when I pointed that out in the last couple of weeks, people were like, oh my gosh, did you update? Yelp is totally ruling. And I said, actually, they've been this way for over a year.
Yeah, and I did that ice cream search as well, and I'm here in Kansas, and I got similar results that Barry did. However, at the same time as I still get Yelp at the first, and then I get the rest of the results down before. But you do another search like pizza, and then you have a totally different type of search result with even the slide share or the slider, the scroller, and all that stuff. So it depends, I think, on the industry and really how bad of a boy you were.
So let me show you guys something. Barry actually just shared a really great link for SEO San Jose in here. So let me pull this up real fast. Boom, screen share. And let me lock the screen to mine so you guys can see it. Okay, so SEO San Jose. I'm signed in, but this is the profile I use to host the Hangouts. Okay, so this
There's
isn't
no local results there.
So yeah, there's no local results. But here's the funny thing I like to see is if you look at the second one down, SEO company San Jose, California, Yelp. When I see search and a query string description and a URL, does anyone else maybe perhaps call that a bridge page?
Yeah.
And what's Google's policy on bridge pages?
They're a no-no.
Yeah. So my question is, why is Yelp getting away with having a bridge page indexed in the search engine? Basically, all it is a search result of a search result that's being displayed.
Could it be that Google has not enough trust in that particular query because it's a pretty spammy query?
Or because they want to hit Yelp.
But how can you say that SEO San Jose is a spammy query if it's local? It could be considered local businesses.
All I mean is it's very competitive, and it is the SEO field. And so I find it highly likely people have been doing Black Hat for years to get that up there. And so maybe there's not a lot of trust in that particular query space.
Well, here's a different example I posted in the chat, Matt, and that is basically a client that not a client, but a competitor I was always competing against a while back in the banner space, vinyl banners.
So for people who are just watching the Hangout, if you want to tell the query, that would help.
Basically, it's buildasign.com/local, and it's an example of exactly that. The query string that you actually pulled apart on Yelp, there's been many companies actually pulling off where they actually build a local profile and dominate for that localization. So say, for example, I'm in Kansas City and I look for cheap banners. That query is going to come up with that company, but it's actually going to show a local result. However, that company does not exist here in Kansas City, it's in Texas. So it's a complete spam page and it's doorways. However, they still rank, and today they still rank, which is amazing to me that Google hasn't identified little things like that. Sorry.
Okay. Now, Wissam, you asked a question in chat. You mind if I share it here in the Hangout?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Wissam says, will they penalize Yelp because of the bridge pages in the future? Technically.
No.
Go ahead.
Hopefully soon they would. I mean, that's the same example of a bridge page. And those are bridge pages that are actually all over the place. You can even go and buy bed sheets or stuff for your home, and then you're going to end up getting those localized results. And those are just doorway pages.
Bridge pages, doorway pages are one thing. Just forgetting to put a no index on your search results page that Google chooses to spider is quite another. I mean, they can just choose not to index it anymore. They don't have to penalize or demote the site. I think I'd be getting back to this not being nice discussion.
Well, there's a lot more that I can go into detail with this one because they were also a spammer on PPC. So it's a totally. I Josh would encourage you as the geek that you are to dissect this one and work with me on. I would have fun to see what you actually find on this one.
Let me take a look.
Nope. It's in the chat.
I don't know if they can take any action on Yelp because of all the issues going on around their monopoly with Google and local results and all the lobbying Yelp's doing in different government sectors around Yelp against Google and Google against Yelp. It's a whole big thing. So it's a little bit political and a lot political, actually. I don't know if you've seen all the last stories in the past 2 years or so around Yelp and Google and how much lobbying they're doing to say Google's monopoly and it's not fair and stuff like that. So it's kind of a little bit more complicated than just basic Google Webmaster guidelines. And of course, Google doesn't like to admit something like that. But I can't imagine Google taking action on that.
What next, Barry?
Next topic.
But can we actually see? Can someone do a local map search in the States so we can see what it actually looks like and see how good it looks, like, and get map results and share their screen?
Which query?
Pick a query. What's something good, like lawyer or whatever, something good in your area there?
Lawyers are never good.
Let's see. Oh, I'll bring up my screen in a second. All right, so let's do lawyers since you mentioned it. Screen share. Screen. Not desktop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll pick desktop 7. Do you see my desktop 7?
Blank right now. Give it a second. There we go.
I'm just joking. I don't have 7 desktops. So lawyers, you got your ads. You scroll past the ads. You finally get to the organic search results, and then you get the mobile ones. Are these good results here? I don't know. I never hired a lawyer, but they're all local. Mawa's not too far. Suffern. I used to work in this office. This used to be the building I used to work in. So it's all pretty local.
Some of them are Google Plus pages.
Doorway pages.
The two on the bottom are Google Plus pages. One has some Google reviews.
Yeah, and also, let's see what happens here. So ice cream stores, the carousel look nice when you mouse over it. It has that effect. Map. Are these good results? I think Rita's is pretty well known here. Friendly's Ice Cream's not too far. Carvel, I don't know if it's still open anymore. What am I basing what are we basing this off of?
What are we basing?
Well, we should look at it like the quality raters guidelines and see if we think they're quality results.
Okay, so web designers comes up and Rusty Bricks listed, so this has to be quality search results. Let's look up. Yep, web developers. This is really good stuff. This is what I call quality search, local search results. It doesn't get better than this.
You should take one and leave the second one.
I don't know what this is doing here. It's true. This shouldn't be here. It's probably poor quality, but this one, not so bad. What am I looking at here? I don't know. Honestly, how am I supposed to base this stuff?
So if I compare it to what I'm seeing here in Canada, I did a lawyer search, and it's the same kind of deal. I see Google Plus pages. I see lawyers with reviews. They're even actually fairly close by, as opposed, because I live in a small town just outside of Victoria, so it's actually listing in my town and not in Victoria. So I don't know what we can draw from that.
I can definitely tell you I do not work on the ramp to the highway. That's for sure.
That's some rural New York there.
Yeah.
Do me a favor while you've got your screen share up there. Just type in pizza or something like a food query. Because basically those are the ones that you're going to really get some better answers from. When you guys are typing in web designers and SEO firms, that's what everybody out there is writing about. I mean, switch it up a little bit and find a different industry, a smaller niche. Because even the small niches have been hit, not just the big guys. The small niches have been by this. Now, how does that affect if I was to go and just type in on my phone, food or Chinese food, what's going to come up for those type of queries? Because I think that's going to be more relevant to what I'm looking for at the time.
So I took some screenshots of ice cream before Pink Pigeon. So this is ad Baskin Robbins Friendly's ice cream. These are both very close. They're probably about a 5-minute drive. Now I did a screenshot after. Let's go over here. After Pigeon, Ben & Jerry's, and Van Dyke's. These are both further away. I believe they're in New Jersey, probably like 5 minutes away. And then I did a screenshot after Pigeon 1.1. You can see this is in West Nyack, which is exactly where I am, and this is in Nanuet, which is probably 30 seconds further from where I am. So these are much better after they ran Pigeon 1.1 in terms of distance and location specifically. So that's pretty good, I think.
Can you see my screen, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically with what I'm actually going and trying to make an example of is a simple place like even a small, like even a query that could be seen as a localized search, right? Even though it's GPSed and it's going to actually find it out typing those kind of queries with the location. When you still do that, you still have, here's the, one of the main guys, who knows, but then you've got the Yelp. Same thing, it's got the Overland Park query. So one of those type of sites that you guys just talked about. And then this is basically the same query. So if you got, all of these guys that have like no icons. I mean, Original Pizza, Godfather Pizza, Minsky Pizza, you can see that they don't spend a lot of time with their photos of their map or anything like that. But the weird part that I found out recently is when you click on the listing itself, just like, Barry just did for his company, when you look at the photos, okay, the photos are actually coming from Google+. They're not coming from Google Map listing or anything that would actually be part of what we would normally think. But if you look at my screen, these are pictures my daughter shot at the restaurant. These aren't even ones that we professionally shot. So how in the world did all those get into that one listing for for a pizza place that's actually, they have 2 restaurants, but they're only 1 restaurant here in Overland Park. So it's kind of bizarre to me to find, everything's there. Their reviews are there. You can see Urban Spoon. You've got Yelp. You've got Yellow Pages. They're enlisted in everything because they're a pizza parlor. But the weird part to me that kind of threw me off a little bit is I had my daughter come over and go, Hannah, you just took these pictures a while ago when we first started meeting these guys. And she goes, I love the food. I take pictures of everything. And she did. She took pictures of the cookies, to the counter, to logos of the Pepsi signs. But it was just kind of random. But it had the GPS metadata on the camera. And so with that, I believe that there's something that goes with Google+, metadata, and local rank. But that's just me.
So she didn't tag them, and she didn't upload the photos on their account. She took the pictures on her account, and it had the GPS data, and that's how they associated? That's what you're saying?
Actually, what she did was she took the pictures on my camera while I was working with the owner. And so she was just going out and taking pictures. Then I uploaded them to his Google Plus account, as well as we had a lot of different other things going on, like car shows, different things that, like, during Halloween, we had Halloween contests there. There was a lot of different things that really kind of took place, but you can see these pictures are horrible looking, but Google obviously took them because they're original. I don't know. That's just what I'm... We have a big football player that we actually were interviewing in the store, and so maybe that popularity from that football player, because he actually blogged about it and tweeted about it, may have helped. There's a lot of different variations in how that could have possibly happened, but realistically, if you go to this website is one of those websites. Oops. So let's just go to Mafia Pizza, and let's just go back to that listing since I killed it. But you're going to see this website is a tester. It's only a Joomla. It's out of the box. It's a shell. It's nothing super fantastic. But it's all original content. There's no links to it. There's nothing. It's basically, all we did is we talked about what's happening in the pizza place. But how do you make pizza spectacular? You can't. Everybody's...
I got to cut you off. You've been told. All right, next topic. You can't make pizza any better than the next pizza store. That's the whole thing we're learning here. Next, let's talk about Bing. Let's see what we have here. So let's make it interesting. Let's talk about the quick answers that we've been seeing a lot in the search results, just to make things more evil and unethical in Google. So I did a search. This happens to a lot of people. I did a search the other day for my child's stomach was hurting and whatever. She was fine, but she's like, so my wife's like, what if she has appendicitis? So I Google, appendicitis symptoms in children or something like that, and on my mobile device. And if you look at it, all you see is the quick answer with basically no link to the source and no information, no search results. You just see, if you look at your phone, that's all that fits in the actual search box, in the actual iPhone or Android phone. And I'm like, that actually, for the first time, really hit me because it's just Google stealing somebody else's content, showing on the search result, and I honestly had no reason to click through to the results. I felt bad because I know better, and I actually clicked just because I felt bad for them. But I had no reason to actually click through to the result because, I knew my child's fine. She doesn't have appendicitis because Dr. Google told me so. Truth is, it wasn't Dr. Google. It was some, professional website or maybe some, resource website that got no benefit from, that outside of Google stealing their content and maybe me clicking on some of Google ads. At the same time, for the searcher's perspective, it's very useful. Google just added, this is kind of geeky, or religion, which we're bringing religion now. Google brought in Jewish blessings. So if you search for what is the blessing for drinking water, or usually say bracha for raisins or for yogurt or for whatever, now it shows you what you say before and after in terms of the blessing for the Jewish religion. And Google's also testing these new timelines for Knowledge Graph, where they actually show you plug in a company or something, and it'll show you the history of the company over time. But again, Google's taking this data from third-party websites, and over time you see more and more where you actually don't have to actually click on the search results to get any information. It's just being shown to you or given to you, which is the point, because they want Google Now, they want Google Voice Search, they want Google Glass to be able to actually give you that information. But again, it's not Google's content. It's somebody else's content. And Google's getting all the credit for it, and they really should not be. So with that, who wants to chime in on that topic?
In the same conversation I had with Matt Cutts, I raised that exact point. And he mentioned to me that he agreed it could seem unfair, and that he was actually trying to get it so that the people whose content they borrow to put in the knowledge panel would get reimbursed monetarily somehow at average CPC rates. And I was very impressed by that. And I thought, wow, that's great that you would actually reimburse them. But now that he's on indefinite leave, I don't know what's going to happen with that. But
right.
I also raised the same point with Miley Oye, who most people here know is another Google employee. And she mentioned that having your content in the knowledge panel might actually increase your exposure as long as your link or your branding is at the bottom. Now you're saying, Barry, that there was no link at the bottom.
In terms of it wasn't in the box itself. There was no link, which is interesting. Maybe on the desktop version it was. I could check right now. I don't even know what I searched for. Look it up. Let's take a quick look. And I actually got a phone call from a friend. I'm like, this is ridiculous. They're like, how could Google be doing this? And they're not even like an SEO. All right, so in the actual
search, I get a link from the National Library of Medicine. It's buried in a bunch of other links, so I don't know how many click-throughs it actually get.
It's interesting. So now the actual search result changed. It has a link in the box, and it's a different set of results than it was before for the same search. So I'm not sure if Google picked it up and made some changes. But anyway, I mean, this is something that really bugs a lot of, not necessarily SEOs, but more about the webmasters. So Matt Storms creates his own resource online. He spends millions and millions of dollars to build out the content and tools and stuff like that. And then Google starts indexing the site and starts to take the content and starts ranking your content without having any need for the searcher to actually click through to go to your website so you can monetize it. How do you react to that? What do? Do you block Google from indexing your site? You can't do that because Google might in the future change something. So what do? And you really can't do much besides for just complain.
You can remove the schema data from your site, and you may not be able to get it.
They do this a lot without the schema data. A lot of sites have this gets pulled without schema data at all.
True.
So it's not really a good thing.
I mean, if you have a shopping site, and Google can figure out pricing structure, they can see the syntax, they can see, they can realize that the product name is the H1 tag usually. They can see a sizing chart. They can get that data information. They don't need have the schema all the time. It was weird. I saw a site a couple weeks ago where I looked and they didn't have schema actually implemented, but it was displaying on their site. And I wish I would have wrote it down. I wish I would have done screenshots because when I went back, it had changed. So I was bummed. But yeah, I did see it.
It's not uncommon at all. It happens more often than you think. Anyway, so it's just a concern that we've been talking about for a long time. I call this or Google calls this the Swiss Army knife topic because, again, Google says we're just a small Swiss Army knife that shows you some relevant snippets, and when you really need to fix your problem or look into the details, you have to go to the actual tool itself, the full-size tool, which means the website. The truth is, searchers are lazy. Google knows that, and they want to give them the search results, which is upsetting. Another cool thing that, Matt, you'd probably be excited about is that Google Webmaster Tools and Google My Business is actually integrated. So now if you go ahead and go into Google My Business and your Google account is actually tied to the same one with Google Master Tools, it's automatic verification for your business, which Josh would say only really helps Google because now they have more verified businesses in Google Maps, so that when the local results want to be shown, they can use Google Plus profiles as opposed to using the website from the actual business. But they don't always do that because, again, it's about the URL structure, and sometimes they often show the site's URL as opposed to Google Plus URL. But it makes things a little bit easier. I think if you're verifying your site with Google Webmaster Tools, you probably could figure out how to actually verify your site with Google My Business. It's a little bit easier than because you just get a phone call or a postcard in the mail with Google My Business. But with Google Webmaster Tools, you have to do a snippet of code, or you have to do some type of file upload, or you have to do something else, which is a little more complicated than getting a phone call or say getting a postcard with a PIN number in it. But it's nice to see the Webmaster Tools integration across different products, which might lead to more things in the future, hopefully.
I do like the integration aspect. I've been pushing for it for a few years now, that I would like to see more things integrated with each other. I would like to see Google Webmaster Tools fully integrated into Google Analytics and to be able to have one platform. That way I don't have to go to two. And so that way when users are signing up with Google Analytics, because for some reason everybody knows about Google Analytics, but yet they don't know about Webmaster Tools. And so if everybody knows about Google Analytics, just force them into Webmaster Tools and getting that data information so that way they know if their site gets hacked. And that way we'll have less sites getting hacked. A guy can dream, right?
Yeah. All right, so Denny, does anybody have any questions here about SEO problems they're having? Any political issues, religious issues you want to talk about?
No political, no religious. Let's see, what else? No negative SEO.
Negative SEO.
Let's see. What's the other one that I don't want to talk
Did
about?
any of you guys take a look at the Raiders guidelines?
A little bit. Why don't you go over that for people who have not had a chance to really delve into it?
Well, I saw a copy of a copy,
Okay.
and I found it very interesting how it was completely rewritten. It's a totally different Raiders guideline from the last few that were leaked. And for me personally, it kind of read like a Panda manifesto. Like, this is how we train the machine learning for Panda. And it almost went verbatim kind of down what John Mueller and what people have been saying about what Panda is doing for the last few months.
See that?
I like that analysis. That's the only one. That's the first one I haven't heard that's kind of a spin off of some other articles that don't make sense.
I'm nothing original.
Yeah, but you can never, again, Google has said time and time again, the Webmaster Guidelines doesn't necessarily mean, what's part of the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. But obviously it's a good key indicator of what they want to be, what they determine to be relevant and unique and useful versus what they don't. So it's always useful to read that. And you're right, they did change it. The interesting part was that they actually released a version of the Google Webmaster Guidelines to the public officially a couple of years ago. And it was like maybe 1/3 the size of the original. And since then, we haven't seen another copy. And this is actually version 3, I guess, major version 3, I think, or version 5, something like that, which is completely rewritten. So I guess they're trying to keep it off the radar again, which is fine. They could definitely do that. It's not a problem.
Well, if they go through the trouble of redacting it, if they go through the trouble of redacting it, then there's some stuff in there they don't want people to see, or that you could read into further, right? And this latest guideline, it went into specifics about, if you're a Your Money or Your Life site, you have to have an About Us, you have to have a mission statement, you have to have comprehensive contact information, you have to have your own business listing of your employees, those kinds of things. Your Money or Your Life sites are held to a higher standard. They also talk directly about how if you have a quality site, but this quality site has negative reputation information online from independent sources, they will trust the negative reputation information from independent sources more than the quality site. I found that, I was flabbergasted by that.
Yeah. All right, so next topic, we'll pull...
The document. I didn't really even read it, just because I've read it 2 years ago and all the other revisions, but I really haven't paid attention to that, only for the fact that I don't believe that that's really... Everybody's getting tied up around Quality Raiders Guide. You see article after article after article about it, and I know I'm going to shut up, but I think that, there's a lot of interpretations that are happening, and the people that are getting some of the knowledge down the food chain are basically not getting the right stuff, and they're getting confused and scared. So I don't know. Just heard that.
All right. So the next topic is something that was mentioned in the Google Webmaster Help forums, where Google's account. I don't know if anybody can help me pronounce her name. Zineb Bahaji. Matt, you want to try that?
I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, she is a nice person. I met her several times. And she's one of the Webmaster trends and analysts that help out in the Google forums and at conferences and stuff like that. And somebody was complaining about their website and whatever, and she came in and said, as per the documentation, if the site move is done correctly, it will have no negative impact on the website's visibility in the long term. So Google's site documentation actually says the visibility of your content in web search may fluctuate temporarily during the move. This is normal, and a site's ranking will settle down over time. It doesn't specifically say that you'll have no negative impact in the long term, but that's what's implied. So it's the first time Google's actually saying there's no negative impact. And the truth is, often when we do site moves, at least my company, if it's exactly just moving the site from another server to another server, there is no impact at all. If it's a URL change, or if it's a URL change only with no content changes, there is a small dip, and then it goes back up, and often sometimes higher, because you see that little spike initially, and then it goes back to normal. And then if it's a completely new content management system with new content, redirects, and all that other stuff, ultimately the goal is for there to be more traffic after you do that. So you do see a small dip usually for a few weeks, and then bam, it goes up tremendously. So what she is saying is correct. Obviously, if you screw up your move, you're pretty much screwed. And the problem is, most people do, especially if you don't hire an SEO or a knowledgeable webmaster, they do screw up their site moves, and that leads to major issues with Google, with duplicate content, duplicate URLs, all this other stuff that Google tries to figure out, and they do a pretty good job of figuring it out compared to what they were able to do 10 years ago. But it was just nice to see Google actually say that. Anyway.
Now, what happens if you're moving a website and you have problems from that old website to a new site? Basically, the links come right with it. Everything, all the penalties come along with it as well. So sometimes they don't go right, but you're right. Having an SEO involved in the whole process to make sure that that's something that they won't really want to do.
So let me chime in on this for a second. I had a company about 5 months ago reach out to me, and they had bought links. They had been under a penalty, and they reached out to me, and I talked to them. And looking at all their stuff and how bad it was, these guys didn't buy just a few links. They didn't buy like 1,000. These guys bought millions. It was really, really, really spammy in what they'd done. And they were basically using the exact name anchor text of their company, because their company was named it after the keyword term. And so it got so bad to the point that when they got a hold of me and I'm looking at it and I'm digging through it, I realized that the easiest thing to do would to actually shut down their old website and to start over with a brand new one from scratch, because it would kill it completely, and they wouldn't have to worry about being under penalty or things like that. And they knew that they had enough money to weather a bad storm. They had saved for it. They had spent a good amount of money on buying links, but then they realized how bad it was. And so they actually last week shut down their old company and have changed names to a new company. And if you go to their old website, it even says on there, they took down every single page, and there's just one message on there saying, thank you for visiting. We have rebranded ourselves. Please visit us at, and they put their domain name there. And they did it on a no-follow link going to the new page. So it kind of cleaned it up. They didn't want to do any 301s or anything like that because they didn't want to take over any of the bad trash with them. And so it's hard for companies to do bad things like that.
Yeah, it goes back to how bad were you? How bad is the damage that we're going to find as we go through your company's web history of all the way back to when you first started your website?
Yeah, and that company had been around in business for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they, for some reason, thought that buying links would help them. Their CEO read this thing that, more links are good, and so he went and searched, no joke, how do I buy links? And he bought them. All right.
Which it brings up a good point, too. I mean, you got people who are constantly saying, well, shoot, if I get something from Forbes or CNN, that's a good link, right? Well, it depends on the link, right? I mean, that's not going to just, make or break the algorithm and make you rank. It's just one of many pieces of the algorithm. Could hurt you in the long run, could help you in the long run, who knows? But,
So, to rank #1 for everything now, I just got the beta invite to Google Domains.
But I thought John is out of those. He's the only one.
He didn't give it to me. Minimat gave it to me.
Ah.
I've got one.
nice.
It's
Somehow my invitation was lost in the mail.
I'll stick with GoDaddy.
That's where I'm at, Daddy.
Anybody remember Minimat?
No.
Nobody knows who Minimat was?
2 cows.
Oh, Minimat? No, was that before Google guy? Minimat? No.
That was Google. That was Matt Cutt's first helper, I guess, to help with the Webmaster community.
Oh, okay. So that was way back in like the 2001, I think.
Was that Wiz?
No, Adam Lasnik.
That's like hardcore resources there.
So he hooked me up, and he's actually very active on Facebook. With
I thought Facebook was down.
not yet today, but it was there.
Did you see my tweet? I said use Google. Did you see that one?
Oh, we don't all follow you.
Yes, we saw your tweet. We saw your Google Plus.
Anyway, so he hooked me up, but basically, he was. I'm trying to find an old link. He was like basically, yeah. So here he is. Let's see when it was. The date was back in 2006.
2006.
And basically,
Okay.
he was Matt's, like, I guess, sidekick. I guess he didn't like the role too much, so he's no longer involved in the Webmaster team. I think he's more on, like, Enterprise or, I don't know, Google Drive or something like that these days.
Well, they move every couple years. That's the thing. There's only a few people who stay on the product long term. Other than that, most Googlers bounce every 3 to 5 years.
Bums. Anyway, just joking. So Google Domains I just got access to. I probably will try to switch some stuff over to it, see how it works. And hopefully my traffic will just fly off the roof when I move my domains over to it. But I have to test it and make sure it works.
I think it's more of a security thing, guys. I think it's a lot more secure based off of some of the technologies they've purchased. So I would be more apt to get away from my GoDaddy to go that way, not for the benefit of the ranking, but the benefit for the security.
And just to be clear, whenever I talk, 99% of what I say is sarcasm.
I know. I'm just playing on that.
Yeah.
It's sarcasm out of me, too.
Barry, you? Sorry.
Barry, we love you. Don't worry.
Oh.
All right. Let's talk about Bing.
Josh doesn't love you at all. There's no love for Barry at all.
Everybody
Sorry.
loves me. Bing safety. So now we all hate Google, so let's switch to Bing. And Bing launched their new site safety report, which basically now gives you basically a malware alert if there's something wrong with the search results and they don't want you to click on it. It will say, hey, don't click on this, and they'll tell you why, what's wrong with it, and so forth. So they boosted up that feature.
Who? What's this Bing thing you're talking about?
You know, Google's competitor,
No, not really.
they control about 30% of the market share.
There's 30?
I think that statistic might be a little made up.
I do like that what they're doing with the security and being able to have the notifications, but personally, I would want those notifications and those type of results filtered out before I see them. Just thinking.
So we don't believe ComScore data?
I'm lazy. I don't want to
Depends
have.
on the niche.
What?
It depends on the niche.
So search, you don't believe ComScore search data?
No. No, it depends on the niche. I don't think it's as high as 30%. Finance and some demographics, the stats I looked at do seem to be a bit higher, but all the sites that, the vast majority of my clients, which are hundreds of sites, 95% of their traffic comes from Google.
Right. So everybody talks about this, and ComScore and all the ones out there, all the reporting engines say that Google is 68%, 70%, usually not more than 71 or 72% of search market share, and those are explicit searches, people actually doing searches, and that Microsoft controls about 18, 19%, and Yahoo is about 10, 11%. If you do the math, obviously Microsoft Bing powers Yahoo for now, and that's about 30% search share. But if you look at anybody's Webmaster, Google Analytics, or whatever, it's always like 90% plus of Google search traffic to your site, and well less than 10%, 5%, maybe usually 3% from Microsoft and 2% from Yahoo. Does anybody ever see 30% or let's say 20% Bing traffic to their site?
I've never seen that on any of my clients' websites. I have access to over 150 analytics accounts, and I have the highest I've ever seen on Bing was about 8.5%. Is anybody higher than that?
What does that make you think about when you see this data from ComScore and from all the different providers out there? Where are they getting their data from?
So you guys want to know how to game Alexa rankings?
No.
Okay. But if you look at ComScore and all those types of things, all they are is they're taking a guess. They're looking at different factors online where, people are using stuff. It's kind of like a Nielsen rating. They have to guess.
Bad guess. Very bad guess.
Publishing industry, newspapers, they have to rely on that type of stuff. That's how they get their ad prices. So I don't trust them.
So that's another topic that's been around in the search community for a while. I feel bad. I'm just talking. Anybody have any topics they want to bring up?
Well, let's go down the line here real fast. So, Terrence, how are you doing today, sir?
Hi guys.
And where are you from today?
I'm from England, Britain,
Right.
UK. Just listening. It's interesting, just listening. Don't really have any questions.
No problem. What search issues, though, have you seen lately in the last couple of weeks that have piqued your interest?
For us, really, we're just waiting for Penguin to roll out. We've got a lot of clients we work with, and a lot of them got penalised the last Penguin, and we're still waiting. With the conventional wisdom, I suppose, is that you've got to wait for the next Penguin update before you can get any progress in rankings. Do you guys agree with that?
I would say no. You can still fix other stuff other than Penguin. You can try to make your site better. You can still try to build it up. But Penguin is a major boat anchor on your site if you're actually hit by it. And you probably won't get any substantial rankings until that's taken care of in any which way.
Great answer.
That's a great answer.
So it's just a case of waiting for the next refresh.
If they refresh it.
If.
But according to your article, they won't. I read it.
John Mueller says they're going to. Matt Cutts told me that there was some trouble in their doing so. So, I don't know. I mean, if enough people complain, they're going to have to do something. So I think Barry should keep complaining. I think I should keep complaining. Because it really is, I don't want to get into this again, but it really is highly unfortunate for webmasters who are being held down by it.
Can I say your signature word?
No.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Mike, I believe it's correct. What have you seen? And where are you? First off, I forgot where you're based out of, Mike. And
currently in Bucharest, Romania.
Bucharest, that's Romania. That's right. So, what have you seen over there in the international SEO area that is unique that you've seen that piqued your interest? That maybe it might be cool to share with us over here in the States or the people up in Canada.
All right, so you're basically referring to non-English, so as from my point of view, local
exactly
area SEO.
Your country.
Right. From what I've noticed, I've been working with Romanian clients for over 1 year now, and I noticed Google is a bit slower in detecting more. How can I say this? People doing black hat SEO by creating blog networks. Google has a bit of trouble detecting those, especially if these blog networks just use advertorial-like content and not necessarily just footer links or stuff like that. So basically, advertorials are harder to detect from what I've seen by Google when it comes to Romanian-based websites. I don't know if that's the case for other non-English languages, but it seems there's no problem with the sites that just use directory links or things like that. Really simple black hat tactics. Those seem to get penalized in, I don't know, 2 or 3 months maybe. But when it comes to blog networks, advertorials, I've seen sites that have been up for more than a year that haven't been penalized, even though at a manual look you can pretty much see it's partial match anchor texts that they use in their advertorials, and that's just it. It's not like they have, half of them very good links and half of them advertorials. It's all of them are like this, and it kind of sucks because I'm trying for my off page tactics. I'm using content marketing basically. It kind of sucks when other people are just pouring money into advertorials and are beating our clients basically.
Thanks for sharing. That was definitely something to look into. I think one of the comments, it was in here, basically how long it takes to get to other countries, about 12 to 18 months behind the U.S. So, as you're cleaning up all those clients and fixing, anything that could be, Panda related or Penguin related, just doing everything you could possibly do that before it hits. You're safe, a little bit safer that you have a little bit more time.
Right. But on the other hand, the competitors that use these tactics also have more time to outrank my clients. And my clients go, well, Google isn't doing anything about them, so maybe what they're doing is not so bad, And I try to give them my blog guest, was it, .com example that was penalized for enforcing do follow links, if I remember correctly. And if there's actually a network here in Romania that also kind of does this, and a lot of websites are using it, and obviously they're not penalized yet. I don't know if
I think you hit the point. They're not penalized yet. You made it. That's your nail right there. Is they are starting to get penalized, especially in the United States. I think it'll be coming that way as well. But that's just kind of what I've seen. Some of those agencies, even here in Kansas, I've even seen they're even struggling because all of their rankings and traffic's gone away, and their customers are going, well, all of our rankings and traffic's going away. What happened? So.
Yeah, I think it's more about, since we're talking about advertorial, so basically content, I think it's more about Google better understanding and better parsing non-English languages, better understanding what is valuable content versus, just commercial type.
Mm-hmm.
The official Google answer for this would be to make great content, to make a great site, and wait for Google to be able to catch these spammers, especially in these other languages, which unfortunately there's a bit of a lag time. My answer, which possibly would not be as popular, maybe in this particular forum, would be you got to do what you got to do as a business. So, I wouldn't put all my eggs in the competing with them basket, but if their black hat is getting away with it right now, either you can go out of business, or you can try and compete with them. I would maybe have two strategies. I would try and compete with them maybe on that level, but I would have another site ready to go because Google will eventually catch that. It will eventually be caught. And I would have another site ready to go that's doing it the right way with great content and all those kinds of things. That's my personal opinion.
Right. So far, I wasn't that bothered with the competitors using these tactics, because by using partial match anchor texts and the blog networks being a form of blogs that aren't that authoritative, they basically only manage to get a good ranking for a couple of keywords, but not for all their content for long tail keywords and such. So I still have the upper hand on them by doing content marketing for long tail keywords and keywords they might have missed, and optimizing landing pages for that and such. So my clients kind of get to breathe through those kind of outlets.
But it's highly risky, and they're walking a fine line, and eventually Google is going to take action on that, and they're going to fall off. The question is, can you wait that long?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I think that's kind of it for the day.
Great stuff.
Why don't you sign us out?
Thanks for listening to the Webmaster guidelines, Google Webmaster Hangouts version number 102.
Brought to you by
sponsored by the Obama administration, and I'd like to thank everybody for listening.
SC Roundtable, though.
I don't think Matt would want it to be sponsored by the Obama administration.
Matt voted for Obama. What are you talking about?
I don't want Helpdesk Hangouts to be sponsored by anyone. That's why we don't have any sponsors. We're kind of like a non-profit in this aspect of where no one sponsors us.
I should sponsor you.
Webmaster at the White House. That's what Matt should do.
No problem. Okay, guys, have a good one. Get away from your computers. Go out and play and enjoy the weekend.
Peace.
See ya.
Bye from Canuckland.
Bye from Toronto.
See you guys.